Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Last Call BBS, where as you can see, I've spent a little bit of time with this, and I am still kind of wondering if I could make it run faster, but I rebuilt the donut machine to account for the fact that I remembered that this thing exists. It really is like a fantastic tool for this purpose. A lot of what's going on here is basically fundamentally similar to the other solution. I'm using sequencers a little bit more to just sort of like buy time. Yeah, it's not super it's not super great to look at on account of the cables and whatnot. But it does actually pipeline the donuts reasonably effectively. And we have a sensor-based solution here for the sprinkles, which allows the pipelining to work without breaking everything. And here, we'll just run this through real fast until we get to one of the orders that actually has sprinkles on it. Okay. So yeah, you can see here this sequencer is just doing the sprinkles. Just all this thing is doing is booting stuff immediately when it hits the sorter. It's always pushing it the same direction. But because we're getting a sense read, we can use that to start a timer for the sprinkles. Yeah, so this is a lot more time efficient, and based on the histograms here that you are about to see, we can see that this is maybe approximately what a lot of other people did. The thing is, I had made some kind of crummy errors in design. And at first, I only got the time down to like 60-something. And the 60-something also showed up in this bar. The 0 to 400 scale is really not great for displaying time on this one. And it makes it really hard to know if we're actually in line with everybody else. Like, everybody else's scores could be 47, or they could be 60-something, or they could be some other number entirely. It's really pretty hard to know. And the machine's a little bit cheaper than our other solution as well. By just flipping this assembly over, I went back to this one to see if I could speed it up a little bit, and I realized the way we were doing it was very silly, because the chicken was spawning up here, coming all the way down the belt so that it could go all the way back up the belt so that it could connect to the main belt over here and then go all the way back down again. By flipping it over, we can eliminate that third trip, and as you can see there, save like 4 total cycles. Still a lot cheaper than what everybody else is doing. I do still have some questions about this, but for the moment, let us ignore those questions and simply move on to meticulously prepared foods, such as those described in the Dallas Codex. Okay, so did we look at this? No, not really. So there's roast and ribs, and oh, we have to slice this off of a whole piece. Okay. So I guess an initial question is 600 grams the whole thing? Right, let's see. So how does this... What's left of the roast comes out left, the slice comes out right. Okay. Let's go... Upon start, spit out the roast. The roast comes out left. Sorry, what am I doing? I need to give myself a little bit of room here. We're going to get collisions, and that's going to be really awkward. I guess what I can do is, here, we can put a stacker in. Okay. There we go. And it'll at least collect them in the box this way. But I'm actually really curious. Okay, so... Actually, I am wondering if this thing ever really reduces in size. Okay, so basically we can get an infinite amount of slices off of a piece of roast. Okay, good to know. There will only ever be one roast to deal with, but after we have taken however many slices. I assume we're going to have to toss it. Like the machine's not going to run if the roast still exists, right? Fortunately, it looks like all we're doing here is just slice and stack, which is weird. Rib slices weigh 200 grams, roast slices weigh 100 grams. So that's interesting. Depending on which product they want, we're actually cutting a different number of slices. I don't know how different that is, or how interesting that is. So I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, we do need a slicer. We're gonna want to run it more like this, right? The thing is, there has to be... I guess let me verify my assumption. So 2. I'm just going to do a really naive version of this thing. Okay. On start, set this to 2. You know, on stack, decrement, on 0, eject. Okay. I just want to see... Oops. Right. That is a problem. This thing only happens once, right? So if we just give this a little bit of room to work with. Yeah. Oh, why did I put -2 on the thing? All right. Right, but even though we've delivered the thing, the order doesn't end because there's still food products. So after we have to have a router in here of some kind, probably literally a router, to dispose of the rest of the Infiniroast when the time comes. So like the basic logic of that is pretty simple. On 0, connect to the multiplexer. The multiplexer does this and also changes your state. On setup, I want you to open up the left thing. There we go. Okay, so now the deal is we would actually be running a counter from... We'd actually be running the counter from here, right? Let me verify that this works. There's no reason it shouldn't, but... Oh, right. I don't want this to be operated by the stack, though. I want this to be operated by the slice. Because if we let the roast go around one more time, it's going to produce more food. So... The slicer doesn't have a... Problematic. The slicer does not have a sensor of any kind in it. So this is where using a sorter rather than a router might actually make sense, because the sorter has sensor logic built into it, and it could save us some money. All right, let me do this. So actually it's decrement on sense. So I want an AND gate here. Oh yeah, decrement on sense. This is 0. This is enabled by 0. Well, you know, what I was going to do was run the sense thing to here and also to there with an enabler, but I need 2 counters if I'm going to do that, because yeah, that's a little trickier. Okay, let me try something else here. Rather than running this as just an enable that is checked on every sense, I'm gonna make it a sequencer. Okay, I do love to use a sequencer. So on 0 from this thing, go ahead and just start the sequencer. This won't begin to fire automatically at the beginning of the... Okay, no. It doesn't receive the 0 from before the first input is processed. That's good. That's fine. All right, so when this counter hits 0, it takes 2 more cycles for the last thing to get put on the tray, and then we can fire and eject, right? Okay. So when we do a sense, we want to do this. Actually, I think I'm going to do this with one of the big counters instead. Because the big counter enables us to run an AND gate off of it. If the number's still positive, then I need... So upon sense, if the number is still positive, we route left. And if the number is 0, we instead... sorry, this is an enable. We instead do not run it back to the slicer. We kick it forward into the garbage and also prepare to eject. Okay, let's see how that works. Did I screw up my counts anywhere? I sure did. Oh, right, because the sense... Yeah, sorry, the decrement is fired from the sense. So this needs to be 1... The count on this needs to be 1 lower than the actual number of slices to be gathered. Because the check is happening after the slice. So the first slice happens for free, effectively. Okay, That kicked out too early was the primary problem there. Okay, so that's good. And then... You know, I think I want, actually... I want the reduced by 1 to only fire if this is positive. Also, sorry, the sensor thing needs to actually... Yeah. That's part of the problem was the instruction that kicks the thing through and out was never ever going to fire. I had not connected a wire to it. Okay. All right. So now let's alter that a little bit further. The deal is this doesn't fire on start. This fires on 200 grams, right? So this is plus 3 and this is plus 5. Okay. Cool. Great. Okay. However, here's what we want to do now. We can use another... So we have to do the logic for which food is being sent out, right? Alright. That's all sensor stuff. Okay. And this stuff will work for the other goods too. It's just a matter of which counter everything's wired up to. which is actually, it's a little, here, no, sorry. It's a matter of what values are put into this counter. This is actually gonna be a little tricky, isn't it? Because we have to do 1, 2, and 3. Which is to say 0, 1, and 2. Is this gonna work the way I want it to? All right, first things first. Okay, we're gonna run a couple of enables here, and we're gonna need a multi-mixer for each size. Let me put the sorter down there. Run a multi-mixer for each size that does a little bit of math based on the initial setup here. I think I have an idea for how we can execute this cleanly in quotation marks. It will function is what I'm hoping. All right, so this is the 200, this is the 400, this is the 600. So each of these things needs to call both of these bits of logic. It's going to look like a real nightmare up here, and I apologize. Okay, so this is the instruction output set that will fire if it's roast. This is the one that will fire if it's ribs. Okay. So if we need 023, we need 012 on one machine and 135 on the other machine. So if the values are 1, 2, and 3, we can make that work no matter what, right? I think so. Lots more multi-mixers. I use a lot of wires. I don't know if this is how everybody else plays this game. So, $200. Shoot, wait, this isn't. Do I have to use a separate? Because, like, when we put out the 200. It's got a call out to both of these. I think there has to be a separate pair of these enabled by roaster ribs for each size, right? Yeah, totally. All right, wait. So I want to keep these ones. This is going to be a very space expensive thing. All right, I'm going to pull this stuff down here. This is going to be, yeah, it's going to take a lot of room. Is this the optimal way to do this? Fucking, I don't know. I'll tell you what, though, it is the way I'm going to do it. Because I already thought of it, and that's the hardest part. So, these two multi-mixers are being repurposed. These are now the multi-mixers for these things. All right, so enable, and also output roast. And then this one does the same thing. Enables one of each of these and also emits ribs. Okay. All right, so the 400 is running to here, and it needs to fire both of these, only one of which will actually go off. Same deal over here. I should have wired these this way. It's a little more readable. Okay, so that runs both of those. Only one of them will actually fire. Now, how do we assemble the numbers that we need? We're gonna need some more multi-mixers. Can you believe it? So, when we're looking at 200 grams of roast, which is this one, we just fired the one, right? So this is the multi-mixer. It's connected to the one button. Yeah. Okay. So this is connected to the +1. This is connected to the +2, and this is connected to the +3. We're gonna pull these, yeah, like that. We'll staircase them so that they do the thing a little bit more obviously. Okay. Yeah. So for this, we just need the +1. For the 200 grams of ribs, we don't actually even need a +1. For the 400 grams of for the 400 grams, we need +3, 400 grams of roast. And then for the 600 grams of roast, we need the one. No, we need the 2 and the 3. That's right, because I'm going to 5, not to 6. Okay, cool. For 400 grams of ribs, you fire the 1, and for 600 grams of ribs, you fire the 2. Okay, so that'll allow us to get all of the numbers we need, no matter what. On 0. Hold on though. So we're gonna have a breakdown here. Let me set us to order 4. See, order 4 is gonna be a problem because this thing is at 0 the whole time, which means this sequence is trying to play. So maybe what we want to do is here. I'm going to grab an AND gate. And what we're going to do is we're going to start the sequencer off of the AND gate, provided that this is 0. I think that'll work. And because we're starting it so much later in the process, we can pull this instruction back. Can we pull it all the way back to the first line? Yes. This doesn't really need to be a sequencer in that case, right? Well, we're still... Hold on. Sorry, let me step it again. So... right now, we're not using the stack command for anything, right? I'm wondering if I can eliminate the sequencer. Because if all it's doing is this, then couldn't we just run stack through the zero checker to eject? We can, right? Upon stack, if thing is 0, eject. And just remove this entirely. No. Why did the eject fire when a stack hadn't happened? Because we don't need any other inputs right now. What is this coming from? Oh, right. Because we were checking on sense before, but there's no reason to do it that way. I was trying to, only use one counter, but we can only use one counter like this, and it totally works. And I think now, if we've wired this up correctly, the machine should just run. We are throwing away a tremendous amount of meat. Did this not go correctly? Okay, hold on. So that's gonna be a problem here too, right? Yeah, because we're fence posting a little bit differently. Shoot. Well. So what we kind of need is for the stacker to go off when this is -1. Maybe I was right. Maybe it is. Maybe it is on sense. Yeah. Okay. Let's remove the stack functionality. So here's a question. Does it... Right now, when it's checking the eject logic, the number is... It's just now decrementing. So it won't read the 0 yet. And then here it reads the 0. Why did eject get called there? Hold on a second. Okay. Slice. The sense happens. Ah, I see. Well, that seems like we could fix it by just moving the sorter, right? If the sorter is here, we don't even have to change any of the routing logic. The problem is that the count's good, but the math is getting done a cycle early. Yeah. Okay. So that works for everything then? Question mark? Yeah, and we don't need a sequencer because we're using the belts to do the timing. Okay, I think we've got a legitimately functional machine here. I'm doing the quick visual check to see if any of our multi-mixers are actually unnecessary. Anything that only has one input and one output would be potentially unnecessary. And I don't think we have any of that. One input and one output, if there's an enable that's being actively used, is totally fine. Just throwing away an entire rack of ribs. This cannot be the right way to do this. I mean, from a game standpoint, I know it is, but ugh. Terrible stuff. Okay. That's something. And it's relative to other people's solutions, it seems like a good one. Somebody figured out something very real. Kingfisher999 gives it 4 stars. My great-grandfather's memory matrix used to talk about this, so we tried it out. Seems pretty much like the real thing, as far as I could tell. Granola King says 1 star. They should do their research. Ribs were not even invented until much later than the time period this establishment purports to evoke. Ribs were not... I mean, we didn't invent... Okay, I know what he means, but still. Hungry Ghost, as always, 5 stars, pretty good. Hungry Ghost loves food. One quick little bit of curiosity for me. This is the earliest we can have... Yeah, if we had this entering the belt a single cycle earlier, it would just get caught on the tray anyway, and you can't move the tray dispenser out of the top row. So this is literally the fastest this solution could possibly work, I think. Yeah. The question is just, what is that other person doing? That person who managed to do it even faster. They have some other kind of solution, not just a more tightly optimized version of this solution. It's very interesting. Oh, actually, here's the thing ooh, that's not the right button. Here's the thing we don't need. This has no outputs at all. And if that's the case, then we don't need this one either. The 200 gram can just plug directly into here. We can scrap that. So that does save us some money, and I think it doesn't break the machine. Okay. Slightly better result. Not enough to actually move it visibly on the bar, but that's a little bit better. Feeling pretty good about that. Greetings, operator. This is a notice that Soda Trench, our Cola Wars experience, will no longer be in operation at the 20th Century Food Court after several visitors experienced injuries due to physical altercations inspired by brand loyalty. Brands, I'm telling you, no good for nobody. While we realize that enthusiasm for brands is one of the hallmarks of 20th century human activity, sadly, we had not anticipated the fanaticism to reach actual 20th century levels. As unfortunate as this specific incident was, it does reinforce our belief that the 20th century is tremendously compelling. The park continues to grow as people discover the limitless, meaningful experiences that this magical time period has to offer. The Walrus. Culinary fashions changed over the course of the 20th century, but there was always a place for cocktails, small vials of liquid made from the admixture of several reagents. To be a true cocktail, at least 3 different colors of liquid must be combined. Okay, here's the thing. I don't drink alcohol at all. Given my family history and everything, it just seemed very unwise to ever give it a chance, so I didn't. So I am not speaking from any tremendous amount of experience, but it feels to me like this is maybe not the correct measure. Okay, what's going on with this one? Vodka, whiskey, cola, and lemon. So whiskey is pretty straightforward. Whiskey sour is whiskey and lemon, one presumes. What is going on here? The visual, is that an ice cube? That is an ice cube. Am I dispensing ice? Add ice to chill. Okay, we don't chill the whiskey, but we do chill the others. The highball, we are not given ingredients for. Feels like I need those. And the cola is just, yeah, the cola is a cola. Oh no, okay, I see the red. This is not like an indication of how full the drink is. It's an indication of the amounts of, okay. So the whiskey is a single shot of whiskey. The whiskey sour is whiskey lemon. Okay. And a cola is just all of the cola. Highballs have cola in them? I guess I didn't. Listen, the only place I've ever heard anybody talk about a highball is Catcher in the Rye. No, that's not true. Sorry. Grant O'Brien and Catcher in the Rye. Okay. We can make this happen. I don't know how we're going to... No, I do know how we're going to do this. We're going to use sequencers. Okay. So this is the thing producing the ice. Are you really supposed to put ice in all these? This is one of those things where the food court is doing a thing that's supposed to be funny, and I don't know about it because I, again, am ignorant of the way humans drink stuff. So I think what we want to do here is use 2 sorters, right? Because the sorters have the added functionality of holding onto the thing until I say we're done. And then I guess I want to put the stacker like up front, right? There's no reason not to, I think. Is it a problem if the ice has to go in last? Okay, so that does complicate things somewhat. Put these up here. Sorry, this is the glass. This is the ice. Okay. And if we give this one extra belt of space, then we can just emit glass on startup. Emit cup on startup, I guess. I'm just going to go out on a limb here and assume we're going to want to... Right? Usually we end up doing a bunch of stuff on start. So... It feels like it's going to be a sequencer kind of thing. I mean, maybe it's just 4 sequencers. Maybe that's all it is. Okay. Right? Start. Okay. The whiskey sequencer is, in theory, very straightforward. So we're going to need... For each of the sorters, we're going to need a multi-mixer. Because we're going to have multiple things running to its through command. And then for each one of these inputs, we end up needing a multi-mixer. Right, yeah, there's nothing that's only used in one drink. Oh, wait, sorry. Whiskey, the vodka's not used at all, actually. We're just never gonna... Yeah, we're never going to have a vodka requested. So we will not need a multi-mixer for that. Alright. So, drink dispensers. So we want to just run a sequence down each of these, right? All right, the whiskey is first. Upon whiskey, actually, I am gonna wear this directly now, but I'm gonna leave the multi-mixer in place. And we'll just delete it at the end if we don't end up using it. Okay. So at start, dispense cup. 1, 2. On the second thing here, we want to fire the through command of that because that's the tray. Then we want to fire the through command of this one. Oh, actually, this is... I don't want to make the sequencers responsible for that because then we're going to end up with 8 different calls to each of the throughs. My life's a lot easier if we don't have to use a second... Well, I mean, I guess maybe it doesn't end up mattering. Maybe the idea is you just use 2 multi-mixers for each of these. I think you end up having to use 2 multi-mixers for each of them either way. Okay. So. There's no particular reason this needs to run like this. What am I doing? I'm being so weird. This is, yeah. Right, we can just... The tray's not going to get where it's going before the drink gets where it's going anyway, right? Well, this whiskey, we are going to have to actually maybe do that. But okay, that solves that problem right there. I'm making this way too complicated. All right, so... So we want to fire this on the second cycle? Hold on, I'm gonna... So yeah, from here, run the whiskey command. I just want to verify. This is going to fire too early? No. Oh, I put them down backwards. Oops. Also, it does strike me that there's no... Okay. Right? Okay. Anyway. So yeah. Whiskey. Are all of the recipes in this order? If there's whiskey in it, the whiskey goes in first? I guess I don't even know if these are ordered. But yes, the answer is yes. It's fine. We don't have to route anything back to the first drink dispenser after it's gone to the second one. Okay. So yeah, just do that. And can I run the eject in the same... Sorry, this goes to here. This is the through command for this drink. Okay. If I run it all in the same frame, does it... Oh, it just doesn't even... That's the wrong sorter. I should swap the positions of these, because intuitively this is what makes sense to me. Alright, can I run them in the same cycle? Yes, for maximum drink efficiency, the answer is yes. Okay, so obviously there is a problem with that, though. So we're going to wait 1, 2, 3. So on the third cycle of this thing, I'm going to have it push left. We'll just put the cup directly behind the thing, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Okay, we don't have to do anything else. So here we can hit eject. The stacker is also going to need its own multi-mixer. Okay. That's a drink. All right. Whiskey sour. Whiskey, whiskey, lemonade, also ice. So, whiskey, whiskey and kick it forward. Then, okay, so that's run the whiskey, kick the thing forward. And then C is going to be... Oh, we don't actually... Uh-oh. I need more sequencers than this. Let's get this out of the way for the moment. Then we're going to need... Because these two drinks will work just fine out of a sequencer, but we need more than 4 instructions for all of the other drinks. Yeah, bummer. Okay. We'll deal with it when we get there. Alright, so this is a shot of lemon. Cool. Actually, even this one needs more than 4 outputs, because it needs the ice. Problematic. Yeah, because now we've done this. We can, in that same cycle, run the through command here, or the left, whatever, you know. I guess this is probably not going to make sense. It's good. We're going to want it to be a through, and I just need to space it more on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we want it to be here. Oops. Get the wire out of the way before right-clicking. So first of all, let me make sure I haven't screwed up the timing on that too much. Okay. So now on this one... Yeah, sorry. Nobody should be kicking the thing forward until that point. And this is a time inefficient way to do this. Really, it should be this thing. Right? And as such, 1, 2, 3, 4, I can move these instructions back a step. And also this ends up further back as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right now it's on cycle 7, but it's okay for it to be 6, right? Sorry, this should be moved back. Okay. Yeah, all right. So that one's solid. So one way that we could fix this up a little bit is that we could make a piece of logic that is press this forward, dispense the ice, and then stack it all twice when it reaches where it's going. So basically I would set up another sequencer just for the end of the process. And that can be the D from here. Can be that. So it's dispense the drink off of the B platform, and then ice. And obviously we're going to need a multi-mixer for the ice machine because we are going to have to call this repeatedly. I'm going to put this over here. This may be a 2-space intensive way to run this. All right, so dispense the ice. The drink's here, in theory. So then the stacker will run for a cycle, and the stacker will run for another cycle, and then if I call eject here, it's too early, right? Let's see if this is functional. Yes, that is too early. That's what I thought. So this is a routine that we can call at the end of all 3 of the actually complicated drinks, which does make things a little bit easier. Okay. Let's talk about this monstrosity. So we call this sequencer immediately. What this sequencer does is add 2 shots of whiskey, kick the thing forward, add a shot of lemon. So let's go ahead and wire these. Whiskey. Sorry. This is the whiskey button. This is the send it forward button. All right. That part's the same as before. Then we need lemon. So, is it like lemon and call another sequencer? Rapidly running out of space. I think it is though, right? Yeah. Because what else are we going to do? All right. So the secondary sequencer for this thing, which has more outputs, has us calling cola twice. Sorry, this is the D output. The C on this thing is lemon. Yeah. Okay. So this has us calling cola twice. And then on the same frame as that, we execute this thing. We execute this routine. Why did I connect this directly? I know that's not how that's going to work. We have to call this from multiple machines. Okay. So yeah, the B input here is call the finish the drink routine. We're going to need, I think, 1 more sequencer. We do technically have room for 1 more sequencer. If I do this, the stuff's kind of in an arbitrary order at this point. You know what? I think we can actually remove that. So let me put this back down here. Move all of this over. This top right corner is just the sequencer overflow zone, which is not ideal. Okay, so for this, wait, what is that?
Start. Stop.
Oh, that's really nice. It's got, yeah, it's got screen reading functionality. Okay, so for this one, actually, no, you know what? We don't need another sequencer for this. This is actually a very straightforward drink. So it's, the A input here is just kick forward. Just do that immediately. Then the B input is all of the soda. Fire all of the cola. And then also fire the finish the drink routine. And I think we're good. I think that's going to work. It's a little clumsy for sure. Okay, so that one doesn't get ice. Wait, why is there a dead cycle in there? That cycle's not necessary, right? I can just run that stuff sequentially. I guess it doesn't matter because that's not the longest drink anyway. And the time that we score is based on our longest iteration. Yeah, whatever, it's fine. Very appetizing noise that it makes. I mean, it's functional. And again, a little bit faster and cheaper than what most people did. But yeah, there's gotta be a way to cut that down, right? Anyway, I'll think about it later. Culinary, I've read this text already. Bubba G gives it 3 stars. It didn't taste good, but I'm told it was more for the visual, so I guess it was okay. Borneo Jam, who I think we've not seen before, gives it 4 stars. I felt just like someone in the 20th century. And Crystal Lyman, 2 stars. So complicated. You have a bunch of bottles of different stuff, and you have to measure it or mix it or shake it or whatever. Give me a break. I'm very unimpressed with the idea of a mixed drink. So, okay, let me just really quickly here go back to. So it's the cola. Well, the cola and the highball in theory are like the same number of cycles, right? Because they're both 2 pass forwards. They're both 5 things. So that was 12 cycles. Yeah. So to speed that up a little bit, how would I speed that up a little bit? Wait, I want to see. I really wish you could jump to a particular point in the 11, 12. Okay, and it's 13. So it's the cycle that this passes off of the thing. So how would I speed that up? I mean, we can prepare that drink earlier. But no, I'm dispensing the cup as fast as I can. The only way that we could speed that up is by... No, how would I speed that up? Dispensing the cup directly into the cola situation? I guess? But obviously that slows down the creation of the highball. So in order to bring down your overall score, you have to come up with a solution that makes the highball and the Coke faster than 13. And the highball actually is the bottleneck there then, because the highball does have to go to both platforms. And there's no weighting involved in the highball's recipe, or in the instructions for the highball. That seems like about as fast as that can go. The bottle is not a single cycle of dead time in it. Don't know. I can think about it later. Oh, we got another log entry. Over time, as computer games got more sophisticated and the budgets got bigger, the weirdness got evened out, and you just didn't see concepts like this one anymore. It's too bad, because I would have liked to have seen what bedroom coders like Zachtronics could have done with a big budget. Probably something truly wild. They never got their hands on that kind of money, although one time they almost did. Not from a hit game, but because for some unknown reason lost to time, Zachtronics was also a publicly traded company on a penny stock exchange. Okay, I don't know my Zachtronics history well enough to know if this is a reference to something about... If this is a reference to something that really happened. It could just, it could just be like an alternate... There's no reason that Zachtronics and Zachtronics have to go through the same, or even versions of the same adventures, right? Okay, meat plus 3. Historians are divided on the origin of the traditional southern meat and 3, though most agree that each of the various sides, as they were called, held great spiritual significance as representations of mankind's sins. What are we talking about here? Those look like sins. Oh, it's okay. It's coleslaw, greens, and beans. I see. So it's gonna be meat plus 3 of the 4 available sides. Order does not matter. Just get everything onto the tray. Also, the meat is going to come out metal, right? I think that's what's happening here. It looks like it's sparkling. It looks shiny. Those are specular highlights, I'm telling you. Okay, so for each of these things, we have to dispense 3 bowls that get laden with the various sides, and then also we have to cook the meat. So it seems like the meat thing could be happening on one side of the belt, probably. This is the meat. I mean, I guess it's a freezer, right? So yeah, the idea is there's a stacker at the end here. There is a grill right there. So we know how to set this situation up. The meat can probably dispense pretty early. Then we also have the ramekin set up here. Now, intuitively, what makes sense to me is to have it right. I guess it can be vertical. So what we'd put it like, if I choose to leave this here, we'd put you there. And do something like this. Okay, so you just dispense 3 bowls, and then the meat will get put out whenever the meat gets put out, and everything just gets stacked up and you go. So the question is, does this actually make sense? Does it actually work like this? This is another thing where I feel like we probably want sequencers, right? Because we could run one sequencer for each of the sides that just starts when the machine starts and fires when the thing is in the appropriate place. But I have to dispense. The deal is, like, we dispense bowls. We dispense a bowl on each of the first 3 each of the first 3 cycles, ideally. And then those bowls, yeah, so it's not as simple as, well, no, I guess it kind of is, isn't it? Okay, I have thoughts, I have ideas. So what if on each of the first three cycles, and the way we do this is with a sequencer, right? We run this sequencer, and it, on each of the first three cycles, it dispenses bowl. We just run the dispense bowl command this many times. I guess this isn't really the smartest way to do this, is it? Could we do this with a basic counter? We'd save ourselves a little bit of money by doing that, and a little bit of space, I guess. We do have quite a lot of mandatory equipment here. But, like, this is the idea, right? You dispense one of these on each thing, and you also fire the appropriate... You fire a sequencer that is connected to each bowl, is the idea. And that sequencer has, you know, it's the start time is synced to the bowl, so it knows how many cycles it will be before the bowl is under the correct thing, so it can fire the food thing at the right moment. And it does have to be 3 different sequencers if you're doing it that way, because you could do it with just one sequencer that's taking commands appropriately. You could do it with one seeker that's basically like passing the outputs through a bunch of AND gates. But if you do it with just one sequencer, then you can only be worrying about one bowl at a time. And my suspicion, without having seen the histograms here, is that is going to be an embarrassingly slow output. So let me just see one thing real quick. So there's a counter, right? And it's like, because on the cycle where we run the eject, it's still going to cook. So I think this is one where we want the meat. So on start, meat. On start, also this. On 0, eject. Nope, I can never remember which things happened before the cycle change and which ones happen after. That's very weird that that's how that works. Okay, so the meat is coming out right after this thing hits. The bowls are actually going to... If I emit a bowl on a frame that would cause it to collide with the meat, will the bowls wait politely? Because, like, the chicken parts weren't colliding, right? So it's going to be 1 cycle behind the tray, is that right? No. It's right there. Okay, it does not cause a crash. There's just a pause. So we can afford, in fact, to dispense bowls on the first 3 cycles and get them as figured out as possible. Which means that there's basically no way to make this faster. Because we can, any solution is going to involve at least the tray traveling this far and all of the food items falling in behind it. So if I can figure out a way to make the basic logic of this work, this is like an optimally fast solution. All right. Well, I'm not going to pick this puzzle up for real in earnest right now. Obviously, we're at the hour mark already. I'm going to fiddle with it a little bit. Just think through it a little bit off camera before next time, tomorrow. And when you come back next time, tomorrow, I'll have the beginnings of the machine, but, you know, obviously we'll build it out together so you can all experience the fun, quote unquote fun, of watching me discover that my plans don't work and then having to adjust and whatever. You know, the thing that this gameplay series is. So come back tomorrow for that, and we'll see you then.